Welcome back to Gene and Roger Talk Movies. Gene, hello.
We're here.
I'm sure you're excited about today's film, the 1981 slasher My Bloody Valentine.
Yeah, My Bloody Valentine. Yeah, I looked up IMDb, and here it is. I'm just going to read a paragraph off of this thing. It says, My Bloody Valentine is one of the best and most well-made slasher flicks of the 80s. It is also one of the better holiday-themed horror movies around! Exclamation point.
And where are you at with this one, Gene?
I would say for 1981, yeah. I mean, the genre is still, I think, kind of in its infancy. Right? Didn't Halloween just come out?
Well, Halloween was 78. Then you had Friday
so
the 13th in 80, which really
it's still
started.
kind of like new, and Halloween was like groundbreaking at that time. But if you look at again through the lens of 2024 eyes, I find myself getting kind of middle to the end where the movie should be climaxing. I'm getting bored. They're in the mine, and you have scary teenagers running around. And where are you going to go from that? Like, where do you go? Like, who's going to die.
Well, did you know who was going to die, Gene?
Yes, you did. So, and I mean, it's fun to watch, and there was a big censorship debate, which you probably know a lot more of the details than I do, and we can get into that. Because I guess it was too bloody. It's for that time, it was just crazy. But looking at it now through 2024 eyes, and having seen movies like Saw and all these other things, the Audition. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it finally came to me. You had the Audition. It was like that movie Audition is bloody and guts and horror. This is just like something made from like my 17-year-old. Can do this one.
Well, that is kind of the audience for 80s slashers is 17-year-old
But let me see the box. Roger has the My Bloody Valentine collector's edition.
If you get the 4K
I think
edition,
you got to get this. Look at this.
I don't even know if it's available anymore, but you, of course
you
have
want
your cool box.
It doesn't have a bloody heart inside, but it has all the memorabilia. Look at that.
Little enamel pins. They occasionally do that. There's one really cool one for Escape from New York as well. So I figured I'd bring that in and show you. But Gene's right. This movie, we're going to talk about the MPAA, which is now known as the MPA for some random reason. But that's the ratings board. They're the ones this secret cabal of individuals that decide what we can and can't see.
Yeah, they all probably in a dark room, smoking cigars, drinking their margaritas, or not margaritas, but their gins, or their martinis, and deciding the fate of Hollywood.
Friday the 13th had received a lot of backlash from critics and decency people and all of this because it was rated R, and there was not really any cuts required for that particular film, and then there was this big backlash. So a lot of the slashers then started getting horribly edited, and the whole point of a slasher film, we all know this, is
to be slasher.
I'm waiting for the next cool kill scene with lots of practical effects and all of this.
Yeah.
And Gene,
the kill scenes mainly involved around hearts that are cut out.
Well,
right.
But maybe because you saw the original theatrical version, right?
Well, I went to Apple Movies and I just rented it, $3.99 rental. I got that one. It was 1981, but it was probably, I've read about it, they cut some footage, and I'm sure it was that edition.
And so the beautiful part about what happened to this film is the director had kept almost all of the cut footage. There's one sequence that has not been restored. And so there's DVD like this one, which has restored that footage. And so I really appreciate whatever studio it was allowing this director to put this stuff back into the film, because the gore in here is extreme. There's a beautiful sequence where the killer, he's Harry Warden, or you think he's Harry Warden, this guy. Because, of course, it's the slasher template, right, where some horrible thing happened in the past, and now they're kind of reliving a moment from that.
Just like Halloween with a different setting.
Any slasher. And so now the Harry Warden guy is back to exact his vengeance on the town, or the wacky teens who are going to do this thing that he doesn't want. But there's this level of graphic violence that was cut out. So, for example, when Hap, the bartender, is trying to set up that fake Harry Warden guy in the closet or in that shed.
Yep.
Well,
The mayor.
the movie you saw, or the version you saw, that guy comes out, hits him with the pickaxe, and then the next scene is him dragging him away. In the original unedited version, which is on this DVD, that pickaxe goes up through the bottom of his mouth, out his eye, and the eye is dangling on the end of the pickaxe, right? The sequence where Mabel gets killed and
this
shoved
old lady,
in the dryer.
this old lady gets killed in her laundromat, in Mabel's laundry, yeah.
Your version, here's a real quick cut of her body falling out of
because the guy killed her with a big pickaxe, and then I guess it's because this happens off camera, but he
not in the unrated
puts her in the dryer, and I guess he puts a coin in and starts it, and she's tumbling.
Apparently that is a defective dryer because it's been running basically all night long. Apparently because that cop shows up in the morning.
And it's
still
running.
going. But in the unedited version, the body falls out, it's still in the dryer, and the dryer is still going, so it's whirling around, and the cop's all like, oh my God, freaking out. And so this is one of the real tragedies of how the ratings board kind of controlled what we saw in the 80s. And a lot of these 80s slashers had significant cuts. Again, the whole point of the slasher is get me to the cool gore effects.
Right, because the plot's minimal. You really know what's going to happen.
Exactly.
But you want to see the...
Yeah. And so here...
And this movie has a high body count. Really high. A lot of teens, well, not making it to the 20s. Right. That way.
Well, and I also love the setting, though, too, where one of the beauties of low-budget filmmaking, this guy found an old abandoned mine in some town.
In Nova Scotia, Canada.
Yeah, and he used
an actual mine.
The mine. Yeah,
yeah. So I read that they went down the mine 2,000 feet underground. Like, why? 2,000 feet.
And so I think that's one of the reasons this movie is really viewed as kind of this slasher classic, is the setting is really cool. The killer is in that awesome gas mask and all that.
Right.
And so
the mask, again, the trope that started with Halloween, right?
Right. You've got your,
got the mask, Friday the 13th, all of that.
And I just think it flows along really well. There, Gene was saying how he was kind of getting bored at the end. Well, in the unedited version, for example, when they're climbing up the stairs to get out because the elevator thing has been dismantled.
Right, they got to climb the stairs.
And that body kind of falls down, but it's got a rope on it.
Yeah, the funny guy meets his end. Yeah.
In the unedited version, when the rope stops, his head peels off from the rest of his body, which then goes down to the bottom.
Yeah, sorry that we're laughing. I mean, it is
tragic
and
horrifying.
Slasher movie. It's a slasher movie. Yeah.
And so at the end of the day, this movie was another victim of this terrible entity. Because I still, Gene, go back to, look, is this movie I'm looking at G? No, it isn't. Is it PG-13? Nope, it's not. Is it PG? That automatically means it's R, right? And I like kind of how now, Gene was alluding to this, the graphic level of violence that we can see in an R-rated movie today is just off the rails compared to this. The original theatrical version of this, if they resubmitted it, it's probably a PG-13.
Probably.
Right?
I mean, I've watching the movie on Netflix, I could go home and watch it right now, Extraction. That movie has so much violence in it that it makes this seem like it was made by kindergartners.
Right.
It's just like, the level of violence that we're seeing today is just,
Yeah, and so it's interesting how the morality of 1981 was, we can't let the public see that. Oh, you can't see that. And now it's, what can't we see? I guess loving couple having sex. I guess we can't see that. If somebody's killing them, we can see that.
Yeah, we can see that, yeah.
But I do appreciate that this is recognized as one of the great slashers. When I saw it in the theater when it came out, I did not like it very much because you had Fangoria magazine, which showed you all the cool stuff you didn't get to see in the theater.
And then it's not in there.
Same thing happened with Friday the 13th Part 2, where's that double impaling? What happened? And it's all been cut out because they were on their big crusade to not let you see these things. And so, again, the fact that the footage still existed, and then this director, George Mihalka, was allowed to put it back into his film, is great. He still says, though, it's only about 90% complete. There's still about 10% of the movie just kind of missing, unknown, who knows. But unrated version of My Bloody Valentine is an absolute win.
So if you can get a hold of it. So like the version I saw doesn't have all those scenes.
No.
Like if you got this DVD, would it have those scenes in it?
Yeah, so this right here is, there's two different versions of this. This is the brand new, well, relatively brand new 4K Ultra blah, blah, blah edition. But there's another Blu-ray edition and a DVD version. Both of those, I think you have to tell the DVD to show it with the extra scenes. This version, they're just automatically included in. You just hit the, I want to see the unrated cut, and they're all in there. And this version, too, all the footage has actually been cleaned up really well. In the original DVD release, it was basically the grainy footage that he pulled out of his garage somewhere to put back into the movie. And so you could automatically tell when it was cutting to the unrated footage.
Because the quality was lower.
Really bad. And then they've cleaned it up for this 4K release. And so it's pretty seamless addition in there. The other thing I want to point out, too, is, because I haven't seen the theatrical cut in a long time, the very end, it does not show him, the Harry Warden guy, actually cutting his arm off, does it?
No, it does not.
Right. So at the end, he's kind of buried.
He's kind of buried. So you're saying he cuts his arm off so he can escape.
Right, and
it does not show that. No.
His arm is sticking out, and then Sarah comes up and is grabbing it, and he's grabbing onto it. But then it cuts to, well, he's cutting his own arm off, and then he does that. He pulls away.
And then he runs down the mine, and as he's running away, he's making all these threats to the community.
Right. But he pulls away, and then she pulls his arm out.
No, it's not there. Oh, sad.
And I just love that cop, too, because the cop's primary role in this entire movie is to look horrified.
Yeah, it's kind of bumbling. He doesn't really do anything all night.
His reactions
just runs from one scene to the other.
Right. Oh, my God. And he's always just freaking out all the time, and so it's really classic. But I do think it is a good representation. The only of 80s slashers, the only thing this is really missing as far as the overall template is the final girl, right? Because this has a number of characters at the end.
It's kind of a final girl,
and
like
then
Sarah, right?
Yeah, Sarah? Right. But she's a different final girl, and she's not really the final girl. She doesn't really have to battle the evil. No, she doesn't. The evil killer. No. It's one of her two boyfriends battling this guy.
Right.
And most of the slasher template is, nope, the girl, she's going to run around discovering all her friends are dead while the killer's trying to get her, and then somehow she magically survives the ordeal somehow.
Right. Like Sally, Texas Chainsaw.
Right, yes. Yes, exactly. Or any other number of slasher movies. I guess The Burning is the only other one where it's not a final girl, it's a final guy, which is kind of weird.
Okay, maybe we'll review that one.
Well, we should, because that's another movie that was heavily censored. And then there is an unrated cut of that floating around now, which has one of the greatest slasher scenes of all time, which is
unrated in the
this raft massacre. So there's like 6 people on this raft, and they just get slaughtered
on a raft.
And we laugh at this because, of course, we love horror films and we understand what
slasher movie. You know? Yes, I mean, come
on. I think the atmosphere is good. I think the movie moves along at a decent pace. You don't really get bored. They've got kind of this love triangle going on, which is setting up a bunch of
you kind of have to just roll with it, accept it for what it is.
Yeah.
If anything, if there are any deeper meanings, I don't know, maybe we've touched on it a little bit, maybe things that were kind of that took people aghast back in 1981. Today we just like yawn. You know, maybe it's the things that are happening in our culture on a somewhat regular basis. You know, like, did they have school shootings in 81? No, but they happen today. So I think, I don't know, are we desensitized to all this violence?
Not only do school shootings happen today, we've also been told that that's just a part of our life now, and we have to kind of accept it.
Yeah, we'll get into that.
It's like, wow.
So I think if you want to go that direction, is it a reflection of like, I don't know. I just throw it out there.
Yeah, but I do think, again, this is a great example of what a movie was supposed to be and what the director wanted you to see, and then some tyrannical agency saying, "Oh no, you can't.
No, you can't see that."
You know.
Yeah, we have better ideas than you.
Yeah.
Certainly, you don't have an independent mind. You can't decide for yourself what's good for you.
Right. Yep. And so
we're going to decide for you.
Right. And so this movie did fine at the box office, but nowhere near what it would have done had it been a complete film, I'm certain.
Right.
Because, I would have been going to see this more than once at the theater had it had all the gore.
Yeah, if it had the pickaxe through and the eyeball. Yeah, that's good. And plus that character, you don't like that guy.
Right, no, you don't.
The mayor, it's like, come on.
Well, it's not. It was the bartender guy who was warning them all the time.
Oh, and it reminds me, some of this movie, I thought this was like a horror comedy in a way because the bartender, it's like he speaks in rhyme. And the Bloody Valentine, he leaves notes. Excuse me. And the notes, they all rhyme, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, so the writers had fun with this one, kind of rhyming contest.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
So well, and
again, the very first rhyming of that, when the cop is driving the mayor, and the mayor's got that box of candy, and he's reading it, and then of course they're both aghast by what's in there. It's a heart in the box.
It's a dismembered heart.
Right, yeah.
And they're like, whose heart is this? And then they take it to the doctor in corner or whatever. Oh, it's the heart of a 30-year-old woman.
Right, yeah.
But I thought it was interesting. No one ever talks about that woman. It's like, what happened to Jane?
I know.
Where's the missing Jane poster?
Right. Yeah, there's, welcome to slashers where you don't have to have everything explained.
No.
It's just move on to the next kill.
Move on to the next.
So, Gene, I'm actually very pleased that you were like, okay, I don't absolutely hate this movie.
I don't hate it. Yeah.
But
I watch it again now.
Well, you might if I give you the unrated cut.
If I had the unrated cut, maybe.
So I definitely highly recommend My Bloody Valentine. It is a quality slasher. If you like slashers, well, you've already seen this. If you have,
if you're watching this channel, you like horror movies. You should if you haven't seen it, you should watch it.
If you've only
$3.99 Apple TV.
Well, and I would say search out the unrated version.
Oh yeah, Apple TV,
because that's really what you want to see.
Right.
But Gene, next week I think it's going to be our 100th episode next week.
100th episode.
And I think we've got director Scott Eggleston coming on.
We've been doing this a year and a half. It's taken a year.
2 years.
It's taken us 2 years to get to 100.
Well, we go on vacations once in a while and things like that. But we're doing The Evil Within, which I'm excited to have Scott on if he can make it. Because,
our director friend, yeah.
Yeah, because this movie was 15 years in the making. And so it's a labor of love from a guy who actually died before it got finished editing or color correcting or whatever. So someone else had to do that. But it is a insane little film. So.
I can hardly wait.
Gene, anything final to say before we sign off?
I don't know. Try to get a hold of these things. I don't know if you can even get these. Look at that. How cool is that?
Yeah, it's I do appreciate some of these collections where they take care of their movies, right? And it's a little special extra thing. Escape from New York has one also, which is pretty cool with the little Snake Plissken enamel pin, which maybe I should put it on my jacket.
Nice.
But anyway, we will catch you next week with The Evil Within.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye.